Take us through the big economic stories of the year. What dominated the headlines?
Okay, well, I think the best way of summarising the year, Danica, is it was a doom, boom, and zoom year for the economy. and the reason why I say that is that we were started off the year in a bit of on the track towards a boom. Our stock market was really travelling high. The coronavirus then hit like a pandemic for the economy. And something unusual that no economist like myself would ever expect, that governments would close down economies. That sent us into a crash of the stock market, and that was the doom scenario. It led to a recession, the worst recession in my lifetime, and probably since the Great Depression. We saw that the economy shrunk by 7% in the June quarter, 3 months. Then we started to rebound. We started to grow out of this. And to try to understand it, well, just imagine a budget deficit of $213.7 billion, which the Treasurer outlined in October. Extraordinary amount of spending. The Reserve Bank taking interest rates to record low levels and then telling us they're basically going to hold it there for 3 years. Quite extraordinary stuff. Then you've got all these other things coming in, such as locking out the world economy, and the $69 billion we spend in tourism every year being spent here, and therefore retail is at record high. We've never seen retail spending like this. So you've got this doom scenario being rescued by a boom scenario, and the stock market has responded accordingly. Sure, there are people out there who are still suffering, and that's why JobKeeper was introduced, and what an extraordinary economic program that was. But when you put it all together, and by the way, the last bit, the Zoom bit, Nika, all of a sudden the economy started working through what we call a stay-at-home economy, where people were Zooming everything. They were doing meetings, they were working on Zoom, and of course they were using Skype as well. But that Skype doesn't rhyme with boom and doom, so that's why I've gone for that. But who even thought of Zoom? And the entrepreneur that started Zoom, is a multi-billionaire because of it. Extraordinary year, 2020.
Yes, I'm sure he's had a significant year compared to most people. But you mentioned we saw this recession in Australia, that economic rebound that you mentioned. What can that be attributed to, do you think?
Well, let's run through it. You have interest rates at unbelievably low levels, and so many people have refinanced their loans, maybe from 4 or 5% home loans down to 2 or 3%. That's given them money. The extraordinary spending of $213.7 billion. That's an enormous injection. I mentioned earlier, we used to spend $69 billion a year overseas on tourism, going into Italy, Greece, Rome, all those sort of places. Now we're spending it here. And then you've got an earlier report in your program today, superannuation. People have drawn out $37 billion of their super, and they're using it to spend. So all this is sort of coming together with these low interest rates, and we're getting a strong economy. House prices have now started to rise rather than fall, despite the fact it's the worst recession since the Great Depression.